Yeah. There he goes.
Oh my God, look at that! Look at that toad!
The squirmy worm is an effective and very deadly fly.
What's up, guys? My name's Brian,
And I'm Geoff.
and you're watching Empire Coldwater. Let's rip some lips.
What's going on, Coldwater Nation? It's Geoff. Today, before we get into tying any flies, I'd like to thank every single one of you who's currently subscribed, all 137 of you, for sticking with us. I know it hasn't been easy. We haven't really been uploading on a very consistent basis, but believe me, we have more stuff coming soon. We're going to get back to a regular schedule as we get closer to spring. And I think you guys are going to enjoy some of the stuff we have planned over the spring into the summer. So be ready for those videos coming out. And today, I've got 2 fly ties for you that you can use on pretty much any creek or stream in the United States and have a good day fishing. We're going to be tying the good old-fashioned Elk Hair Caddis, and then we're also going to be doing a small variation on the Adult Stonefly. So hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys have your fly tying materials ready. And let's get into today's video. This video is brought to you in part by Upstate Excursions and by Black Dog Outdoor Sports. To start a simple Elk Hair Caddis, I'll be using a size 14 hook. For the fly, I'll be using a shiny brown thread. I will start my thread wraps at the midpoint of the hook and work my thread down to the hook point along the shank. Then I will take a short length of silver wire and tie it at the back of the hook. After the wire is secured, I will make a dubbing noodle around my thread with amber dubbing and wrap that up the shank of the hook towards the eye of the fly, but stop at about the middle of the shank of the hook. Now take your thread and create a small taper towards the eye of the fly before wrapping the thread back to the dubbing. Then take the silver wire and take evenly spaced wraps up towards your thread, and then take wraps to secure the wire down. Helicopter or cut the excess wire off. Now I will take a clump of elk hair and put it in my stacker with the points of the hair downwards. I'll hit my stacker against my hand or the base of my fly tying station until I'm confident that I have all the points of the hair aligned. Then I will carefully pull the aligned tips out of the stacker and measure up the elk hair to be just about the same length as the hook. This will form the wing of the fly. Then I will take a couple cinch wraps to secure the elk hair to the shank once I am happy with the placement of the wing. You don't have to do this step, but before I cut the excess elk hair into the shape of the head of my fly, I lift the end of the elk hair in the direction of the eye of the fly and take a few wraps underneath the elk hair to better secure the pinch point to the shank. Now, I will take my scissors and cut the elk hair ends towards the eye of the hook back towards the wing at about a 45-degree angle to create the head of the fly. Once that is done, I will put a double whip finish on the fly, trim off my thread, and now I have a simple elk hair caddy to put in my box, and I know I will catch fish with it. Moving on to a slightly more complex pattern, I will show you how to tie an adult stonefly. To start, I will use a size 14 hook. Then, using a fine thread in a light olive color, I will start my thread wraps just before the hook point on the shank, then taking a few wraps towards the bend of the hook to make a thread ball. I won't cut off the tag end of my thread just yet, I will need it later. Once I have my wraps in place, I will pluck a few pheasant buyouts from my leftover pheasant feathers to use as the tail of the fly. I'll take a few wraps to secure the pheasant buyouts in place. Once secured, I will grab my bodkin and use the point of my bodkin to separate the buyouts into even clusters on each side of the fly. This is where I will use the tag end of the thread to keep those clusters of buyouts separated at about a 45-degree angle from one another. Now, I will secure all of that to the shank with a few wraps of thread before trimming the excess away. Now I will move on to building up the thorax of the fly. Taking my thread that has been wrapped to the start of the tail, I'll create a dubbing noodle using some olive dubbing on my thread. You do not need a huge clump of dubbing to achieve this, but you want enough dubbing so when you wrap the noodle onto the hook shank, you'll run out by the halfway point along the shank. Now I will take a long dry neck hackle feather and pull the fibers back until I have about an inch of the feather separated, and then tie a few loose wraps at the thin point around the stem of the feather with the inch of fibers I separated towards the eye of the hook. Once those wraps are in place, I will gently pull the dry hackle feather through my wraps towards the bend of the hook without pulling the feather out of the wraps. Now I will trim off the excess before securing the loose wraps down and build a gentle taper towards the eye of the fly. Once I have a taper I am happy with, I will take a long, thin, grizzly hackle feather and strip the fibers toward the fatter end of the hackle so that I have about 1/8 inch area of exposed stem to tie to. Then I will make a smaller dubbing noodle with peacock colored dubbing and wrap that most of the way to the eye of the fly. Then I will wrap the hackle feather up to the thread before securing all of that with a few more wraps of thread. After that, I will trim away the excess hackle feather, clean up the head of my fly, before doing a double whip finish to complete it. Cut away the thread, and now you have an adult stonefly to slot into your box. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Here's some flies for you to be able to use on your next fishing adventure. Don't forget about me and Brian's fishing competition coming up this spring, and I'll see you guys next time.
We hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked what you saw today, consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more.
Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you next time.
Until then,
Tight
tight lines,
lines,
everybody.
everybody.